Happy New Year everyone, thanks for joining me. I hope you've had a fantastic festive season and I hope you're recovered, or at least recovering from any excesses you may have indulged in over the period. The beginning of the year is a great time to think about what I want to achieve over the coming 12 months. So this video is kind of my photographic New Year resolutions. It'll give you a little bit of a taster of what I'm trying to achieve in the next year, in 2020, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Maybe it'll whet your appetite for things that are coming up, and if it does and you're not already a subscriber, you could always consider hitting subscribe as well. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out, so rather than sitting in the office, we'll go out for a little walk. A lot of my resolutions have to do with locations. Where am I going to shoot? And I think in the last year I kind of fell into the trap of not visiting enough new locations. So my first actual resolution is to do more new locations that are reasonably close to home. So what I'm talking about is locations that are maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours drive from home, easily doable as a day trip. I can drive there, I can explore, I can do a photo shoot. If necessary, I can go there early in the morning on another occasion without it being too silly. And to be honest, I had quite a few of those locations already in mind, which I intended to do kind of in the last 2 or 3 months of 2019, but for various reasons I just didn't achieve them. Some of that was down to some personal stuff going on, which meant I was a bit busy. Some of it was due to the fact that a few of the areas I was planning to visit had been badly hit by the flooding in September and then again in November. And some of it, if I'm going to be honest, was just a little bit of laziness. So in 2020 I'm going to try and hit as many new locations that are doable as day trips as I possibly can, and hopefully some of those will make good locations for photography and for videos, and of course I'll share them with you. Okay, my next topic on locations is multi-day trips. So that's trips where I'm going away for several days, staying in the area, exploring, trying to find the best scenes to shoot in an area. I only managed 2 of those in 2019. In May we went to Toledo and Consegra, and then in November to Cuenca, or the Cuenca area. Both really good trips, both I think definitely worthwhile from a photographic point of view, but I want to try and do more of those trips in 2020. 3, maybe 4 trips to other parts of Spain, because Spain's a pretty big country and there's lots of diversity here in terms of the type of landscape. Even the climate changes depending on different areas, so definitely worth doing a few more. One of those trips may well be back to Cuenca, or at least the Cuenca area, in late October, early November, to take advantage of some beautiful autumn colours there. There's also the possibility of a couple of trips outside of Spain, and we'll have to see how the planning comes together. I'm working on all of those trips at the moment to try and work out when's going to be the best time to go, how long for, and just put the logistics together, and I'll update you when I've got more information. When it comes to locations, there are also local locations that I haven't fully explored. One in particular comes to mind, Cabezón del Oro Mountain. It's a 20-minute drive from home. I visit there a lot, but I've only explored a very, very small portion of it. And for the last 2 years I've been saying I'm going to explore more, I'm going to get higher up, maybe even aim for the summit at some point, but I just haven't done it. So in 2020 I'm going to look at those locations that I've scratched the surface of, like Cabezón del Oro, and try to do more. Now, of course, something like a long climb up a fairly large mountain is going to be a bit more taxing, and I may choose not to take all my heavy camera gear with me when I do it. So that kind of brings me on to my next resolution. So one of the things I'm going to try to do in 2020 is actually make more use of the Canon M50 as a stills camera, particularly when I'm doing some of those longer, harder exploratory hikes, because instead of carrying my big heavy Nikon D810 and the big heavy Nikon lenses, I can strip that weight right down and just use the little Canon and the lenses that I've got for it. And yeah, sure, it's probably not going to have quite the clarity and sharpness and fine detail that the big Nikon's going to have, but I'm sure it's going to be good enough, particularly when I'm doing, as I said, longer hikes and I don't really want to carry the extra weight. And let's be honest, having the best camera gear in the world doesn't help if you can't get to where you want to actually take photos. So I'm definitely going to take some shots with it. When it comes to my videos, I also want to up the game a little bit, if you like. I always intended these videos would be of value to the people who watch them. They would be a learning experience in some cases, or give you some ideas, or maybe the inspiration to go and try something different, or maybe just the inspiration to go out. The videos aren't supposed to be just me taking you along on a photo shoot. So I'm going to be thinking more about the purpose of my videos and what I'm trying to get across on them. I'm not saying that every video is going to suddenly change to be a learning experience, but I'm certainly going to consider more what each video is about before I start doing it. Hopefully you will then see that the videos have a bit more value to you and make it worthwhile you watching. And I also want to do a bit more work on the video technique. I'm conscious of the fact that when I hand hold the camera and talk to it, like I am now, I have a tendency to move around like this. And I know that can be a little bit hard on the eyes, so I want to cut that out. I also know that when I'm talking to the camera, I have a habit of looking around and not always looking at the camera. And I want to improve that. I'm not saying that I'm always going to be staring straight at the lens, but I just want to make sure that you know that I'm talking to you. Sometimes I'm looking around because I'm keeping an eye on what's going on. I'm keeping an eye on what's happening with the conditions, particularly if I'm by the sea. I'm keeping an eye on what's happening with the waves. But I think it's right that I try to make sure that I'm focusing my attention a bit more on you guys while I'm talking to you. Sometimes I'm not talking to you. Sometimes I'm shooting B-roll. And for those not familiar with the term B-roll, at least in my way of defining it, is anything where I'm not in front of the camera speaking. Now I may be speaking in the background and showing you the scene around me, or showing you the camera setup, or I may just be showing you something just to help progress the video along and show you the scene. And I want to make sure that I do my B-roll the best that I can, so I'm going to be working on my B-roll techniques to try to make them better in 2020. Also, on the subject of videos, I want to do some videos in 2020 that are perhaps a little bit more technically oriented. So maybe they'll be talking about specific technical techniques to achieve something. Maybe they'll be talking about gear. Maybe they'll be talking about some specific post-processing techniques. I don't really have a clear view yet on what they're going to be. I just know that I think they can add value to you who watch my videos, so I'm going to do them. Now, the ones that I do know I'm going to do is I'm definitely going to do a more in-depth review of using the Canon M50, which is what I'm filming this on, but using it as a landscape photography camera. Now, I did do a video on that quite a long time ago, not long after I got the camera, but that video I think was more, you know, a landscape photography shoot where I was just using the Canon M50. It wasn't so much an in-depth dive into the pros and cons of this little camera. So I'm definitely going to be doing that fairly soon. I'm also definitely going to be doing a 1-year review of my three-legged thing Brian tripod, which I bought I think in February 2019, so that'll be coming up in the next couple of months. So as well as doing those more technically focused videos, I also want to do some that are almost completely devoid of technical stuff, where I'm not looking so much at focal length and aperture and all the other factors that I generally include in my videos. What I'm going to want to do in these videos is focus more on the why. Why do I think a particular scene works? Why do I think it's worth photographing? Why am I choosing to photograph it at that particular time of day, that particular time of year? What are the conditions that make it a good image? Again, this is all about hopefully trying to add some value to the videos. And that pretty much brings us to the end of this video about my photographic New Year's resolutions for 2020. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope maybe it's whetted your appetite for what's to come over the next 12 months. If it has, and you're not already a subscriber, please consider hitting subscribe. And if you are a subscriber, hopefully this will get you to continue watching. And of course, thank you very much, I appreciate it. I'd love it if you let me know what you think. Have you got any ideas for things that I should be including in my resolutions, either photographically or from a video point of view? Have you got things you'd like to see me cover in some of the videos? Have you got New Year's resolutions that you want to share? Photographically, I think would be most appropriate, but hey, you can put down whatever you like. So, leave me a comment, let me know. I'd love it if you would give this video a like, hit that thumbs up button, and maybe share it on social media. And as always, I really appreciate you taking the time to watch. So once again, Happy New Year, and thank you very much. And until the next video, bye.